Under the heavy rain at night, a group of policemen knock on the house of their older comrade, telling him about a ship that crashed on the shore. They all head there, where we see the stranded vessel named Demeter. The old officer approaches a younger one, who seemed in shock. The guy who said had gone on the ship seemed to have found the crew all dead. He had retrieved the captain's diary that he handed to the old officer. The man reads the ominous message from the now dead captain about the misfortune that had struck them, speaking of an evil that they were trying to stop, saying in case that they failed, it will spell doom on anyone else. The older officer goes on board of the ship to witness the horrifying scene of the blood-drenched sails. The events then rewind to 4 weeks earlier as we see a convoy heading to a coastal town in Bulgaria while carrying wooden boxes branded with a symbol of a dragon. The convoy arrives at the pier where they stop near the Demeter. A mysterious man watches the scene as it unfolds. We then meet Captain Elliot and his grandson Toby. The man assigns the task of finding new recruits for the upcoming voyage to his quartermaster Wojak. Between the group of candidates we see the mysterious guy from before who stood up to Wojak with the way he dresses. The man named Clemens, who had studied at Cambridge University, says he wants to be their doctor. His ability to be a seaman is doubted by Wojak, but the man adds that he is also good at navigating using astronomy. Despite his skills, Wojak does not choose him and picks some strong-looking dudes. Back at the pier, Wojak faces a problem. The men who helped them bring the cargo say they needed to leave before the sun sets. Their leader even handed them back their money while wishing them luck in the local language before leaving. Clemens, disappointed, sits and watches the cargo being loaded on the Demeter. Suddenly, one of the recruits sees the dragon symbol on the box and freaks out, letting go of the rope. The box was about to crash on Toby, if not for Clemens, who dives and gets him out of the way. Captain Elliot checks on his grandson and orders the crew to stop the recruit who was about to leave the ship. The man then tells the captain that he didn't know about the dragon's mark, saying it was bad omen before he walks away. The captain thanks Clemens for saving his grandson, and the man is offered a chance to join the crew. The box that had fallen seems to be containing dirt. It gets then loaded back on the ship as everyone gets on board, ready to set sail. The convoy drivers were on their way back when they saw the Demeter leaving the pier and pray for it as if they knew something bad was gonna happen. After finishing his job, Clemens is taken by the energetic Toby for a tour around the ship and presents his dog Huck to him. The boy shows him a trick to communicate around the ship by knocking on the walls. He shows him the animals transported, and then he meets with the cook, Joseph, a man of God. During the night, the crew relaxed and had fun. Captain Elliot then tells Wojak that this will be his last voyage and lets him know that he will be the next captain after him. After everyone went to sleep, one of the box's lid opens up and we saw a shadow moving around the cargo hold. Next day comes and the crew gathers around the table for breakfast as they dream about the way they will spend their fast shipping bonus once they reach London. When asked by the captain what he will do with his share, Clemens explained that he doesn't care about money but wants to travel the world and study it. Huck, the dog, starts barking at something underneath them and Toby is told to check on the livestock. Clemens accompanies the boy and once there, they find the animals rattled. Soon they heard a noise emanating from the cargo hold and Clemens sends Toby to call the captain while he goes on and checks around. He finds one of the boxes had fallen from its place, spilling a pile of dirt on the ground. Suddenly from within the pile a woman emerges. She was in a bad state and Clemens says her blood was infected and she needed transfusion. Wojak objects, saying she could be carrying some bad disease, but Captain Elliot takes Clemens' side and permits him to do what he needs to save her. The doctor then uses his blood to help her fight the infection. Meanwhile, in the cargo hold, we hear a voice from one of the boxes and see inside of it a hand shaking. The creature then comes out of the box and finds out that the woman was missing. After Clemens was done with the transfusion, Wojak asks the captain once again to let him throw the woman in the ocean, but Captain Elliot refuses, saying he doesn't want to tarnish finish his last voyage. Later, Clemens leaves the woman with Toby and goes on the deck where he switches shifts with Olgarin. The man tells him to knock if he needs anything and walks away. Olgarin scans the horizon with the telescope and suddenly catches a glimpse of a demonic face staring at him. Freaked out, he checks around and finds nothing. Clemens then sees a silhouette standing in the dark that quickly disappears. He looks around calling for Olgarin. He knocks to call for him and hears someone knocking back. Olgarin then suddenly appears, scaring Clemens. He asks him if he saw something and says that someone was on the ship. In the cargo hold, Huck sees the shadow of something moving and starts barking at it and is attacked by the creature. After he heard the barking, Joseph checks and finds the dog dead, his body mutilated. He checks on the livestock and finds the animal dead too. Petrovsky says it was all because of the woman and says that a woman on board bring bad luck. Clemens says he only believes in facts and thinks that the dog went rabid and killed them. Fearing a case of rabies outbreak, the captain proposes they set port soon, but the crew starts complaining, not wanting to lose their bonus. The captain then learns from Clemens that rabies can only infect humans if they were bitten, and he orders them to throw all the animals out. Once the captain is gone, Petrovsky gets mad saying that rabies cannot open cages and goes on to suspect Clemens and the woman. The tension between the men reaches peak after Petrovsky makes a racist comment, but they are then interrupted by Olgarin, who says that this was not made by humans, saying that there is a powerful evil on board of the ship. During that time, the woman was heavily breathing in her sleep, while we see the creature shivering in a corner as it mutters the name of the woman, Anna. Next day, the crew disposes of the dead animals, while Toby cries over the loss of his dog, as well as the animals that he was supposed to look after. Clemens calms him down, telling him that there are things that one cannot control. Meanwhile, we see the creature as it crawls back to its box. In preparation for the approaching storm, the crew reef the sails, while Clemens explains the science of precipitation to Olgarin. The latter tells him that there was something unnatural on the ship. Clemens says he doesn't believe in the supernatural, but Olgarin reminds him of last night's events, saying that his face back then showed that he too saw the creature. The voyage goes on, and Clemens keeps treating the woman. More than 2 weeks were left to their destination. Toby, who watches over the woman, tells Clemens that her name was Anna, as she speaks in her sleep. The boy who learned Romani from Olgarin says she kept repeating a word that meant feed over and over. Clemens later talks with Joseph, who lets him know that the rats disappeared as if something scared them away. Petrovsky, who is alone on the deck, hears a loud noise and goes to check. He finds a hole in the cargo hold hatch and suddenly hears a moaning sound. In a dark corner, he sees the creature crawling. He gets closer to check and suddenly he jumps and slashes his neck. The man falls and tries to reach for his knife, but the creature catches him and gets on top of him. It then grabs his head with immense strength and begins sucking his blood from his wound. Clemens comes to the deck and doesn't find Petrovsky. He sees the big hole and finds the man's knife and immediately sounds the alarm. Next day, the crew tries to think of what could have happened to their comrade, and Wojak tries to blame Clemens, but he quickly shuts him down with facts. Clemens tells the crew that checking the dog's wound revealed that just like the animals, Huck also had a bite marks on his neck. As they all wonder what this could mean, Anna comes out and tells them that he was here and they must leave the boat. The woman becomes agitated and Clemens holds her down while she cries. Abrams refuses the idea of Petrovsky just getting drunk and falling off the ship, but Wojak tells the man to stop discussing the events and concentrate on the job. At night, Clemens asks Anna about what she was talking about, and she tells him about the evil entity that lived in an old castle near their village, saying that it could take the form of a man to hide its nature and goes out at night to feed off people's blood. The woman was given to the creature by the elders to appease it and satisfy its hunger. The creature's name was Dracula. The woman then shows Clemens all the bites on her body, saying she was brought by him on the boat as livestock to feed on during the journey. She warns him that it will kill everyone on the ship. Night comes, and with it a storm. While the crew was busy, the creature comes out from its hiding and looms around Larsen. The man hears knocking and looks around, thinking it was Olgarin. Olgarin then arrives on the deck, asking Larsen why he knocked, but the man says that he didn't. Olgarin searches around armed with a knife, while Larsen, who stayed back, gets jumped by the creature that slams his face on the floor. Olgarin sees the creature that smiles at him and quickly climbs up while it comes after him. The boat almost flips upside down, waking up the crew. Clemens and Wojak quickly head to the deck and lock the helm up. The two wonder where Larsen was and search for him, and soon they find Olgarin hanging unconscious in the rigging of the boat. They lower him down and wake him up. The man who was bitten on the neck freaks out and starts screaming as they hold him down. Clemens treats the man's wounds and says that there was something on the boat, but refuses the idea of it being the devil. Captain Elliot then gives instruction that two men should now stand watch, and he orders Wojak to search every corner of the ship. The men immediately start searching, armed with their guns. Meanwhile, in his room, the captain leaves Toby alone and asks him to lock the door. Night falls and Dracula wakes up from his slumber, and Olgarin too. Toby, who heard a noise, leaves the room to check the source. He meets with Olgarin and is happy that he is doing fine, but he is shocked to see his eyes all white. When trying to escape, the boy is grabbed and dragged by the zombified man. Toby manages to slip off his grip and hides in the captain's room. Olgarin then tries to smash the door with his head, while the boy, scared, hides underneath the table. The boy then starts knocking on the wall, alerting the crew on the deck, and they all run to get to him. Olgarin manages to punch a hole in the door and was about to open it when he suddenly stops. Clemens then finds Olgarin standing next the door and is attacked by him, but Wojak helps him by jumping on him and holding him down. Captain Elliot calls Toby to open the door. The boy comes out of his hiding only to find the creature in the room with him. The crew all sees it as it goes after the boy, and they hurry to open the door. The creature grabs Toby and bites him and sucks his blood. Anna then arrives with a gun and destroys the lock. After they go inside, they find Toby lying on the floor, not moving. Later, the boy is given blood by his granddad. Meanwhile, the crew had tied Olgarin to the mast of the ship. Soon, the sun starts coming up and Olgarin begins screaming that he feels burning, and once the sun touches his body, he lights up in flames, screaming in agony. Wojak then shoots him to stop his suffering. Later, the crew sits down as the fear creeps onto them. Joseph says that Toby too will become a monster, but he is shot down by Wojak. The man asks Clemens if he could save the boy, but the latter responds saying it would be unlikely and that they should be prepared for the worst. Wojak then hands him his gun, asking him to do it himself, but Clemens says there might be a way to save him if they catch the creature and study it, but Wojak has already given up and asks him to go stand watch. Clemens, looking for the creature, wants to search the cargo hold. Anna follows him, saying that she wants to help. At that time, Joseph knocks Abrams down and takes the lifeboat to escape the ship. Both armed, Clemens and Anna search the cargo hold, but all the boxes seem to be filled with dirt, except one that looked different from the others, with a crest of a dragon on it. The two discover a mechanism that allows them to open it. Inside, they found a cane, and they knew that they had found where the creature sleeps. Joseph, who has gotten far into the fog, hears a whispering voice as a shadow flies around him. Then suddenly, the creature that had grown wings lands behind his back, ready to attack. The crew notices the missing lifeboat and they sound the alarm, and soon they see it floating toward them, empty, covered in blood. The next day, the crew, who had lost all hope of arriving alive to London, prepare to throw Toby's body into the ocean. Suddenly, the captain asks them to stop, sure he had seen the body move. He reveals the boy's face, and suddenly Toby opens his wide eyes and grabs the captain, but his face catches fire when touched by the sun. The captain gets burned and the crew jumps to help him by pulling him back and throwing the boy into the ocean. Later, after taking the captain to his room, Wojak becomes mad at Clemens, who still doesn't believe that the events were supernatural in nature, and Clemens reveals that how since he struggled to find a job as a doctor because the color of his skin, he had vowed to try and find sense in the world. The man says that the creature is no more than a beast that he will understand and kill. One day, away from London, the crew prepared to fight the creature, while Jack, after saying that the creature once escaped in fear from their guns, is told by Anna that it didn't kill them because it was rationing them as food supply to last for the rest of the voyage. Clemens says that they need to set a trap, but Anna wants them to sink the ship to make sure it never reaches the shore. Clemens agrees, but not Wojak, who says that the ship was his home. The man is reminded that the crew is what makes the ship, and so he asks to be the one who does it. The crew immediately began preparation to the confrontation. Clemens talks to the captain, who seems to be slowly losing his sanity, and tells him about their plans, but the captain holds a gun to his face, saying that the creature can bring his grandson back. Anna arrives and convinces the captain that Toby is already dead, then tells him about the dark nature of Dracula and what he does to his victims. The man then lowers his gun and says that he will sail the Demeter away into the sea. At night, the crew sat in the dark, waiting for the beast. Clemens tells Anna to go hide, but the woman says that she is able to sense the creature. The woman knows that the creature will come for her, and that's when they can kill it. Just as she predicted, the creature shows up and seems to know their plan. They are all shocked to see it flying around them. Abrams, who had a rope tied around his waist, is pulled by the creature and killed mid-air. Next is the turn of Wojak, who is also attacked and falls from the mast and crashes down through the hatch into the cargo hold. The man, who has broken a leg, escapes while the creature follows him. He quickly grabs an axe and starts destroying the ship. Just as the water starts pouring in, the creature grabs him and bites him. Clemens later finds the man's body and he grabs the axe, looking for the creature. Meanwhile, the captain was trying to navigate the ship when Dracula came for him. He held a cross to its face to repel him, but it was useless, and he was also attacked. When Clemens found him, the man was tied to the helm. He quickly unties him, but it was too late, and the captain dies. Clemens, who had enough, screams at the creature, saying that he was no god and he isn't afraid of it. To test his defiance, Dracula then shows himself as he stands under the rain and spreads its wings. The creature screeches, then slams him. It was about to attack again when Anna shoots it with the gun. The creature jumps on her, then it holds her with its wings to asphyxiate her, but Clemens hits the creature with the axe. The two run to the lifeboat, but Clemens is caught. He tells the creature that he doesn't fear it, and it answers him that he will as it scratches his neck. Before it could bite him, Anna cuts the rope holding the boom. The creature looks up and the two jumps in the water while the huge piece of wood swings down, crashing the creature. Clemens and Anna holds onto a piece of wood. The ship, taken by the strong waves, crashes onto the rocky shore, taking us to the events of the beginning of the movie as we see the creature freeing itself. After the storm passes and the sun is about to shine, Clemens and Anna were still holding onto the drifting piece of wood. The woman's eyes turn white and she tells the man that there is no way to stop the inevitable. The woman then holds onto another piece of wood and drifts away from him. She then sits down watching the horizon as the sun comes up, setting her body on fire. We later see the streets of London where the stranding of the Demeter is on the newspaper. We see Clemens, who is tracing the address of the cargo, looking for the devilish creature, vowing to take it down. The man was sitting in a tavern when he hears knocking on the floor and saw Dracula clothed like a man knocking with his cane. As it smiled at him, it suddenly disappears and brushes the scar on his neck as it passes by. Clemens follows him outside where he sees him walking away, disappearing into the mist. And with that, the movie ends. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video and see you guys next time. Bye bye.